Hello friends, my name is Dave Miller.
And I'm Mel Spain, and we are your fuck buddies. What the fuck?
Couldn't catch me. Too fast.
Not furious enough.
Welcome back, friends.
Drink, you psychopath. Yeah, thanks. Welcome back, guys. How's your week been?
Oh, I forgot this was regular bourbon and not the coffee stuff we've been
I
drinking.
was waiting for the coffee. Yeah, what's going on, guys?
Are you having a good
Monday?
summer resurgence?
Yeah, if you're from Canada.
Granted, I don't know what your weather's like, but
Yeah.
for us, it got real shitty, and now it's getting real nice again, which is nice because we're going into those dark months.
Yeah, but it's not nice because this closet is real warm.
Yeah, and it's also we're getting to the time of the year where you need 4 distinct outfits if you're going to be out all day. You need a morning outfit and an afternoon, an evening, and a night because the temperature's
I just cycle so that I get really warm, and then I go to a place and I'm good. It's great.
Fair enough.
I don't need any other clothes.
So I cut it out all last episode, but last week my cat Oliver decided to join us in the closet, and you could during the brief periods where there wasn't anything being said, you could hear him purring, and this week he's back in.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's we've gone. This has been what? This our 52nd?
52nd,
episode?
yeah.
So is it? It's not even. It's a year, I think.
No, I think next week would technically be a year because
we released 2 at once.
Yeah,
right?
and we waited a bit after we recorded.
Yeah, but yesterday was a year since we recorded our first episode.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
It is indeed nuts.
So
yeah,
fucking. It's been a pleasure doing it with you.
Likewise.
Well, thank you guys for listening. And
as the sonic delight of an ambulance goes by.
A happy cat in an ambulance. We are off to a roaring start.
A sonic pleasure adventure.
Yep. Should have called our podcast that.
With that being said, let's get into it.
Should we kick right into our user submitted questions?
Let's do it.
We haven't gotten one in a while. Just before we get on to our user submitted question, this is a nice comment we got off one of our people who seem to just steadfastly decide to ignore the fact that we're a podcast, which is this is even better because not just a message we got sent, it was a comment on one of the snippets that Dane put up, which has our logo. It has listen on Spotify and available on iTunes and also audio. So they've just decided to ignore all of this and commented, "Fuck buddy to teach me how."
Yeah,
It's the best.
I want to know what does he need to be taught?
Yeah,
he's also an elderly gentleman, so I feel
he's got at least 60 years in the bag, right?
Yeah. So I don't necessarily know what he needs to be taught.
Yeah.
And I feel if at that stage in your life, if you need to know sort of just anything, maybe the internet isn't your best place to go, or maybe it's the best place to go. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
We should. I should have replied to that one.
I don't know if we want to open that bag. Okay, here we go. Recently, this comes from Agent. Fuck, we just looked it up.
Freedom Eagle.
Recently, my friend introduced me to a friend of his, and I'm pretty attracted to her. I got her number and asked her out to dinner. She told me she'd have to check her schedule to see when she was free. I'm fine with that. I know how busy people can be, and I'm not in any sort of rush. 3 weeks later, I checked back and she's still pretty busy, but she promised she would let me know when she's free. In the meantime, my friends encouraged me not to focus on one woman and to try to meet some more, so I ended up talking to another woman. She's pretty cool as well, but when I asked her out, I ran into the same situation. She's busy working. My friends tell me that I'm way too passive. While that may be true, in the past, when I tried to be more aggressive and get more a concrete date, I ended up getting ghosted. I guess what I'm trying to ask is, how long should one wait before throwing in the towel? Should I just keep asking every now and then? Or is being busy and not following up a general case of someone not being interested? I tend to give people the benefit of the doubt when they tell me something, so I don't know. Maybe I am too passive.
Yeah, it's always tough because if you still think things are going well with someone, it feels shitty to just not ask again, especially if someone's like, "Oh, I'm busy." I don't ever want to not take them at their word for that because I'm busy a lot of the time, and I've had people. I think I've told this story before, but the first Tinder date I ever went on, it was a bit weird, but overall it was all right. And she was like, "Yeah, let's meet up again." And I was down to do it.
Is this the pierogi girl?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was still a fun night. That was just a really weird thing. But like, you know, I was down because if we met up again, it was super weird. That would be 100% a no. But my sister was visiting, so I was like, look, you know, next 10 days, my sister's gonna be in the country, so obviously I'm not gonna bail on her to hang out with you. No offense, but like she got it, I thought. But then she just kept ignoring that and inviting me out that week, and I was like, oh, I already told you my sister's over. And she's like, oh, okay, cool. And then 2 days later, she's like, hey, I'm doing like a comedy show downtown. Like, do you want to meet up after? Like, can I come over? And I was like, my sister's still over. Like, I told you it was 10 days. And then she sent me this big, long, like, here, look, I had a good time. And you said you did too. And like, ball's in your court. Like, blah, 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 blah. And there's like, but it hasn't been. I told you. And then you took my ball and you kept throwing it back at me and ignoring me when I said, like, give me my ball. I want it back. So yeah, she just completely ignored it. And I, in the end, ended up just like never meeting up with her because I can't live with that kind of person in my life.
Yeah.
So they're just going to blatantly ignore the shit I've said. So I never want to not believe what someone says because I feel like, you know, however, sometimes it is just easier to be like, oh, I'm busy, and then hope they'll get the picture. So for me, it's, you know, I'd try maybe twice. You know, and I don't want to put a hard and fast number on it because I'm not all about that. But at the same time, it's like I'm not going to try more than three times, I'd imagine, you know?
There's also, like, there are other indicators. So, like, if you send them a message or like, you know, you ask them out and you say, hey, let's grab drinks on Friday. And they're like, I'm really sorry. I'm busy for whatever reason. If they don't contact you in any regard, like, if the only sort of, like, contact you have with them is them telling you they're too busy to hang out with you.
Yeah.
When you're initiating, like, if you're, you know, a couple days later, you're like, oh, hey, like, I've got some free time on whatever, you around? And they're like, nope, sorry, still busy. And then, like, at that point, I would just be like, okay, cool. Like, I've made my effort here. Mm-hmm. If they're ever going to be free, they'll let me know.
Mm-hmm. And that's a
and
good
I don't
thing
wait
as well.
around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it's one of those things because, like, if someone wants to hang out with you, if someone wants to go on a date with you, they will make the time.
Yeah.
And, like, I understand we're all busy, but, like, if you want to do something, you'll find a way to do it. Mm-hmm. And if you're not really a priority, then it's very clear that, like, they don't really want to go on this date with you.
And they might still like you, but there's liking someone a bit, and then there's liking someone a lot. And you know yourself, there's some people it's like, yeah, I've had a free night maybe, but there's people you will make time for. Yeah. No matter what.
Yeah, if
there's
you're a
nothing
matter
wrong
of
with
convenience,
that,
if you're their person of convenience, it's not the best place. It's like, it's fine if you don't, like, if you're not that invested in them either, it's fine that, like, if every now and then one of you will booty call the other, or one of you will be like, hey, let's go grab drinks, and if you're both free, you're good. But, like, the line of, oh, I'm busy, and you're like, oh, cool, like, do you know when you're free? And the answer of, like, nope. I think that's pretty general.
Yeah,
like,
it can give you a pretty good indicator. And also, like, you know, people have agency, so if they are actually busy and they do, like, there's nothing wrong with leaving the ball in their court, and it's far more preferable than pestering them, right?
Exactly.
Because even if they do like you, I think if you keep harassing them, or they get the impression that you aren't taking, again, like what I was saying, where I was giving, like, a very valid reason, what I thought, and they just kept ignoring it, don't do that. You know?
It's one of those things, I think, 2 or 3 times where you initiate the offer, and again, we're not giving, like, a hard and fast rule of numbers. You can sort of, like, feel it out.
Yeah.
And again, if you're getting, like, the same response every time of being like, oh, busy for the foreseeable future, I would maybe call it a wash and move on, or at least, you know, start pursuing other options. And then if that person comes around, great. But, like, also understand that it might be like, this just might be that relationship with that person where you're might be on the back burner for them, and you might only see them, like, once a month or once every couple of months. And if that's fine, like, if that's all you really want to pursue with this person, great. Yeah. But if you want to, like, have a maintainable relationship, I don't think that's going to work.
Yeah, and also, like, worst case scenario, you guys, or like, worst case, you guys don't go out or whatever, but, like, if you don't overdo it, they're not going to be like, oh, there's that guy who wouldn't stop messaging me, you know, and you never want that.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Even if you guys never see each, like, if nothing ever comes of it, You want to end it in a way where they're like, oh yeah, that guy, I know him, and not like, oh, he kept messaging me all the time. And like,
I think a lot of people what a lot of people do is like this weird ultimatum. And it's such a weird thing to do, especially if it's like if you're asking them out on that like a first date and you actually don't have any, like, it'd be one thing if like you guys have been dating for like 3 months and then all of a sudden this person was
flaky.
like, you know what I mean? It's like, well, I would like to pursue this, but if this is how it's going to go, I don't think it's worth pursuing anymore. Like, that's fine. But if it's literally your first date and you can't nail that first date down because of, you know, conflicting schedules or whatever, I don't think it's fair to be like, look, I really like you. But if you're not willing to make this, because like you don't mean anything to them yet,
you don't have anything to leverage this ultimatum with.
So it's like if someone ever did that, and it's happened to me a bunch of times,
you just kind of like,
and I'm just like, well, like if this is like no, like if this is how we're starting, like if you think you need to sort of like blackmail me or like bully me into like hanging out with you, I don't want any part of it.
So definitely don't do that.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to be said for like putting the ball in somebody else's court, because, you know, if they're being honest, then they have a chance to suggest a different time or let you know when they're not busy. And if it is kind of like a blow off, at least then you're not pestering them, right?
Yeah.
Also, I think a lot of like women will really appreciate if people can actually respect that boundary, because so many fucking people don't. So you never know that they might be like, oh, okay, this is actually really cool of them. You know,
and there are different ways to ask people out too. If you just say the vague like, "Let's grab drinks," that's no good. That's no bueno.
Like, it's okay. Not bad,
but if you're worried you're coming across as passive, that's a passive way of asking someone out.
That's true. I would say unless you guys are a hundo P hitting it off, that's like it'll work fine then. But if things are a little like up in the air, that's not the most like galvanizing.
I would say like make a choice and be like, hey, would you like to grab drinks on Friday with me? Would you like to grab, you know, dinner? Don't do dinner on a first date. We've said this before. Just go for drinks. Also, like that might be a reason why they're a little hesitant. Like, you know what I mean? Like lower the commitment level, because like dinner, there's a lot. Dinner could be money. Like if they might expect, you know, to pay half, and they might not want to spend
feel guilty that they think you're going to pick up the tab. One or the other, they have to dress up, they have to commit like probably an hour or two to the actual dinner, and then you're probably going to go for drinks after, and then like that's
and if it doesn't go well, then it's like, oh cool, you paid for dinner, now I'm gonna leave. So like bring the stakes of the date down, even if it's coffee or, you know what I mean, like go grab ice cream, go get a slice of cake, or like grab a drink, like
tie it into something you guys are talking about as well, right? Like if you guys are what is your cat doing? Like if you guys are, you know, discussing, I don't know, fucking bowling, or like you both love like comics and you realize there's like a comic convention, like the fucking like the Toronto Comic Art, like TCAF, Toronto Comic Arts Festival. Like that'd be a great fucking date if you guys were both into like graphic novels, and you're like, oh, this thing's on, and like you don't even have to pay in, you just walk around. It could be like a 20-minute jaunt, it could be a 3-hour, you know. That's more enticing than just like
dinner with someone you don't really know.
Or just like you want to hang out. If you like are, the more specific and the more like tailored it is, the better. Also, I guess like the more natural it comes up. But like, so I think my like firm answer would be, give it one more go. I mean, I don't know how many times you've already tried at this point in time, but like in the future, I would make it a more assertive date and be like, hey, let's do this on this day. And then bring the stakes of the date down. Don't do dinner. It's cliche that like dinner is a first date thing. Dinner is not a first date thing. Dinner is you actually like each other and you're dating. Like you're seeing each other at that point. Because like dinner, like there's so many things to worry about. It's like, do I order? How much money can I spend? Like what can I order? Is there things in my teeth? Can I talk while I'm eating? And then if you kind of like hit that lull or whatever, there's nothing weirder than just like waiting for food. Also, like if it doesn't go well, you've just shelled out a bunch of money. And then guess what? Next date you're gonna have to do that again. So unless you're just straight up bawling,
there's a big difference. It's just go grab a drink or a coffee or something. And then like if you're having a good time, go grab something to eat after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason that your date can't evolve into what it was initially.
Yeah. Or even just like a snack. But also,
Yeah.
if you are asking somebody out, like, if you're in constant contact with them, it becomes easier. But, like, if you haven't talked in a few days, I don't think out of nowhere, like, hey, you want to meet up on Friday?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe just, like, talk to them, and if you guys are establishing a conversation, then, like, later on, ask.
That's another good point. Is like, are you just cold opening with a request for a date? Because that, like, if you haven't sort of like warmed them up, and if there's no really rapport or banter, like if you've only been like you and your buddy were at the movies the other day and you ran into her and you're just like, oh, here's my friend, and like, oh, hey, nice to meet you, and like if that's the extent of your
or like
conversing,
you get their number or something and you go home and you're instantly just like, hey, want to go out next Friday? Unless things went phenomenally
really well,
which I'm mad, like most things don't. You know what I mean? You do gotta do a little bit more than that.
And even maybe see if your friend can do like more of a group setting thing.
Yeah, and then you'll get
so
to
you guys
meet up with them in person again.
Yeah,
and
you can like get to know each other, and it's a little more stress free. It's not a date; it's a casual hangout.
Yeah,
you can sort of like gauge each other a little bit more. She can see sort of what you're about. You can see what she's about.
Yeah, and it's like you guys are both hanging out with a friend then, so like it's not this potentially ruined night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have to really commit to a lot of things because worst case, again, you're just hanging out with your bud.
Yeah, like organize like a karaoke night or
yeah.
a pub crawl or something with like you, her, your friend, and like a couple of other friends. And then like after that, at the end of that, you can be like, hey, I had a really good time with you. Would you like to do it? Like, let's grab a drink, whatever. Yeah, I think there's a lot you can do here to sort of swing things in your favor.
Oh yeah.
All right.
All right. Hopefully that helped. This one got delayed, but it's fine because I don't really need the extended details. It's pretty much all in the title. My 18-year-old boyfriend, 18 years old, claims that unprotected sex with the pull-out method is safer than using a condom.
No.
Yep.
This like just screams manipulation.
Yep.
And ignorance. Because like best case scenario, he's an idiot and doesn't know what he's talking about. Worst case scenario, he's purposely lying to you to try to gaslight you into thinking that this is the right decision.
That's the thing. Your options here are he's really dumb or he's an asshole or a nice blend of the both. Neither of which is a really great position to be in. I
mean, just a cursory Google search
and he's good. That's it. Like, look at it. And also, like, STDs.
Yeah.
Like, even if on a, like, getting pregnant scale, it was the same, which, guess what? No.
Especially if you're not on birth control. Like, if that's your only method of contraception, you're done fucked up.
But, like, also, if the pull-out method worked, no one would use condoms.
Yeah.
Why would you use them? It's money and it's a lack of sensation and it's like planning and it's all these things that people complain about. Literally nobody would use them. It's not like they're a preference.
Yeah.
Like, to get this guy Google, show him, and if he still doesn't respect the fact that it's your body, you're the one who has to have this fucking baby or this abortion or this pill or this, you deal with all the consequences, or at least the majority of them. Don't stand for that.
Yeah, and like if you need a little science behind, like there's a thing that exists called pre-cum, which is just as potent as, well, I don't know specifically if it's just, but like it can 100% get you pregnant.
Yeah.
And it
also,
can
like,
still carry all the diseases that regular semen carry.
Yeah.
And like it doesn't even necessarily mean like, it's right before you ejaculate. Pre-cum can slip its way out.
Yeah.
Literally at any point in time during a sexual encounter.
Yeah,
Like
also,
the whole point of it is to lubricate your passage or your
passage.
Your passage. I was going to say urethra and passage at the same time. To make ejaculation more successful.
Yeah. No, again, your choice is asshole or idiot. And I don't think either of those are good. And I'm pretty sure she even said in the extended details that she had mentioned this to him and he just flat out refuses to believe it. So, let's refer to last week's episode and
dump his ass.
Yeah. There's no excuse.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like you can show them a shit ton of medical and scientific evidence
also,
that this is a bad idea.
It's just fucking common sense as well.
Yeah.
Because like even like STDs and shit aside, or just those by themselves, on top of the fact that, like, you're also, even if it is 100, like, if it was the same amount, which it isn't, you have to, like, rely on this man's, like, reflexes and thought process when, one, he seems very much willing to disregard your safety, and two, it's like, brains aren't exactly gone 100% when you're, you know,
like how long
balls
until
deep in someone.
He's like, oh, sorry, it just felt so good. Like, it feels better when I finish inside you.
Yeah.
Like, how long until that happens?
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, don't worry, we'll just get you the like plan B.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Or like, I promise you, he's probably also not gonna pay for that.
Yeah. No, it's just, this guy sucks.
Yeah. It's, and like you said, it's 100% your choice. Like, if he doesn't want to wear a condom, that's his choice. But it's also your choice to be like, hey, we're not having sex without a condom.
Yeah. And like, he can go...
Again, it's one of those things where if he's not wearing a condom with you, he's probably not wearing a condom with any of his other partners or any of his previous partners, which is a great way to get a good old, like, disease cocktail going.
Yeah, which, like, you could probably do without.
Yeah. This is from Reddit user Parker Barhorst. Why do I, 20-year-old male, miss my girlfriend, 20-year-old female, when I'm not with her? But when I am with her, I want to break up with her. Every time I'm not with her, I feel like I miss her, and the thought of breaking up with her makes me sad. But when I'm with her, I think how breaking up with her will give me the freedom I've never had in the relationship, like hanging out with friends from time to time and getting personal time without having to fight for it. I think how it's the right thing to do as to not lead her on any further, and how I don't really care if we break up. Maybe it is how she acts and what she says that turns me off, but nothing comes to mind that would make me think this way. Why is this? Does anyone know?
I'm imagining it's twofold. You're not happy when you're not with her, so, like, messaging her and, like, thinking about what could be is, like, your lifeline. So you're like, you know, you miss them and you're like, I'm sure texting and whatever, but then when they're there, you're also not happy. So you're like, oh man, she wasn't here. So something needs to change.
There's only one thing that needs to change. You need to get out of this relationship.
Yes and no. Because when she's not there, he's also unhappy. But, like, he wants her to be there, which shows that, like, even if she wasn't there, he would still be unhappy. So, like, I think there's, like, a core... Like, he's dissatisfied with something, and it's not just to do with them. Because if it was just to do with them, I think he'd be happy when she wasn't there.
I think what's happening here is when... Like, they were probably very into each other, or he was very into her, and for whatever reason, that feeling has changed. And when she's not there,
he misses, like, the older or
idealize. You know what I mean? He has that, like, idyllic version of what she was, or what she wants her, or what he wants her to be, or, you know, whatever it started as, whatever the relationship used to be.
Yeah,
and that's what he's like. Oh, I miss that. And then when she's over, he realizes that's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you have frequent thoughts that you don't want to be in a relationship with someone,
then you should not be.
That's a very clear indicator that you shouldn't be in a relationship with someone. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's the end of that relationship, but maybe you need time apart. Maybe you need to change the parameters.
Needs to fucking change. Like, it's not a good sign.
Like, you need to sort of figure out what it is she's doing. Again, if it's one of those things, like he says, like, oh, I would like to see my friends, and I'd like to have some personal time.
Then
it's like,
have a talk with her about that, and if she's not willing to change that, break up.
Exactly.
And if she is, then guess what? You might have given your relationship a new lease of life.
Exactly.
But I also think he needs to start, like, using his time better, because he doesn't sound happy when she's not there either. You know what I mean? I feel like if he had a very fulfilling life, he wouldn't be moping over her when she's not there. And
it's weird, because, like, if you're like, oh, I don't have any time to myself, and I can't see my friends from time to time, but then there's this time where you sit around just, like, pining over your girlfriend that you
another thing I was going to say.
Seem to hate.
Use that time to hang out with your friends.
Yeah. And
unless you're not allowed to when she's not there, at which point, dump her ass.
Yeah, unless it's like when when she's not there, she's keeping tabs on you, or, you know what I mean, whatever it is, you know, she gets angry at you if you're hanging out with friends.
But I can't imagine he'd miss her then when she wasn't there, if when she isn't there is when the bullshit happens.
Yeah. It's like a hard and fast rule for me, where it's if you are not, like, invested in a relationship, you shouldn't be in a relationship. Like, if you're thinking, like, daydreaming of all the freedom you could have without this person in your life, that's a very, very clear indicator that you don't want to be with this person.
Yeah. Oh, and, like, again, I'm just gonna, like, jump in, because years ago, when I kind of first moved here and I had a different relationship and all this, there were a lot of things that were dissatisfying me. Like my job was really crappy and like I had to work like 2 jobs and it was like just constant work, so that like whenever I was working or whenever I was like at home and I had like a brief time to myself, I would miss my girlfriend quite a lot. But then when they were around, I was so drained and tired, and like having them there sucked. So like we didn't have fun together, but when we weren't there, I also wasn't having fun, but I really missed her, and I could not wait until I saw her again. But then when she was there, I was just so like I had no anything left, so I just couldn't have fun when she was there. And like I was pinning a lot of that on, or I was considering as well, like, was it her fault, or like was it us, and blah blah blah. And you know, I ended up like straightening things out a little bit more and got my like work-life balance a little bit better, and then you know, things got better, or at least that kind of like just emotional deadness was like gone a little bit more, so I could start to enjoy those times again. And it could be something like that, where like if the rest of your life is taking so much out of you that like you don't have the energy or the time for this person when they're around, that also could be a thing. Although it does seem pretty cut and dry when he's saying stuff like I have to fight for my freedom. Yeah. But there could also be, you know, you really need to take a hard look at like what you have to give and why, you know? Yeah, and it's that's a good point, where if you maybe do a quick little inventory of your life and figure out what would like benefit you out of this relationship. Like if you broke up with her, what would you gain? And if it's things that you could possibly have while still being in this relationship with a simple conversation or a communication, you know what I mean? Like if you open up and be like, hey, I feel like I'm lacking X, Y, and Z, and I would like to pursue those a little bit more. And that person is, if she shuts it down, or you know, if she's like, no, I'm like, no, that's not, then like, okay, that's your answer. And also, but you've done your due diligence. If she's going to work with you to be like, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know you felt that way. Let's address this and try to fix it. Then, like you said, there's a chance that there might be a new lease on this relationship. But again, if you make these efforts and they don't seem to be willing to accommodate what you need to be happy, regardless of how you feel about this person, you need to get out of this relationship. Yeah. And it's funny as well, because a lot of people, and we've said it before, and I'm sure we'll see it again, is like a lot of people, they have these problems, but like, it's almost like they assume their partner knows, but then half the time when you talk to them, they've never brought it up, you know? Yeah. Which can also lead into this next question. Well, let's do it. Okay, so this is not from Reddit. I'm not going to name who it is, because, you know, this is a post I saw. Can I complain about something / get y'all opinion? It's not, well, whatever. My boyfriend and I just celebrated our 5-year anniversary. We're both 29. Back in May for my birthday, I told him I really wanted a ring, as in, I wanted an engagement ring. When he said he'd be okay with getting me a promise ring. So I took what I could get and agreed. We went to a jewelry store and picked out a lovely ring, and on our anniversary, he gave it to me. There was no grand speech about what this ring meant to him and me. There was no romance. He literally asked me if I wanted my ring before we went out to dinner. But that's beside the point. The big thing is, I'm 29. We've been together for 5 years. Why is this a promise ring and not an engagement ring? Aren't we a little old for that? I was hoping that asking for the ring would get him to start thinking about maybe proposing, but he's adamant that this is just a promise ring. We've talked about marriage a lot, and he says that we don't have the money for a real ring or a big wedding. I don't want a big wedding. I just want to be married. I'm feeling conflicted and confused. It's been 5 years. Is there something wrong with me? Oh, man. Every time I was like, oh, well, this is this, and then it would get addressed almost immediately. I think you need to ask yourself why being married means so much to you. If it's a religious thing, I kind of understand it. But if it's simply like you're embarrassed that you're 29 and not married. That's what it sounds. It sounds like there's pressure from an outside source. Yeah. Like they feel like they need to be married either for security in the relationship, which I think is a horrendous thing. Like if you're worried your relationship won't last, guess what? Getting married is not going to fix that. If it's, or like society, like she's worried about how it looks, like her friends are getting married and she hasn't, like, I'm almost 30 and not married. Like I'm 29. That's fucking young as hell, firstly. Secondly, you say 5 years like it's this massive figure. It's really not. Like, it's fine, but you say 5 years like it's been 5 years, we should be. So in the eyes of the law, if you're living together, you are married. Just throwing that out there. You are common law. Yeah, I don't even know if they're living together, man. But like, 5 years isn't some, and also like the way you say it, it's like, yeah, for you apparently 5 years is when you should get married, but for him apparently it isn't.
Yeah.
And for everybody else, everyone has a different fucking time scale. So like, just repeating it's been 5 years doesn't mean shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Secondly, like, the issues I have with this are, like, they have a talk. Well, it seems like they have a talk about the promise ring. She agrees to it, and then is sad when she gets it.
Yes.
That's not fair.
No.
I also think that she says, like, she's hoping that, like, I'll hint, this will you know, get him to start thinking about this. I was hoping this will get him to start. Instead of, like, even though they said they've talked about it, it doesn't really sound like she's being open and honest about what she wants.
Yeah, it sounds like if your whole like plan is with some sort of like, you know, inception, like you're trying to like plant these thoughts, I can't imagine what the conversations about marriage are. If you've had a conversation being like, I would really like us to start thinking about getting married. Mm-hmm. If the conversations are just like, hey, do you want to get married? Like,
yeah, one day, do you want to get married?
And the guy's just like, I mean, yeah, maybe. Yeah. Like if like those are your conversations about marriage, you're not accomplishing anything.
And that's the thing. It sounds like that's what it must be, because if you had a conversation about marriage, surely this wouldn't be a question. It would be like I know why we aren't, or I know when we like that we will, or whatever. Instead of like, is there something wrong with me?
Weird
like
ring subterfuge.
Exactly.
That you're just
right.
Like,
so it's like
I wanted him to like, you know, glean the fucking fact that I want to get married through me asking for a ring,
but also agreeing for a promise ring and then being disappointed it was only a promise ring.
Yeah.
Like,
and also it might just like shake out. This guy just doesn't care about marriage. Like marriage just might not mean anything to him.
But also he says he doesn't want to get married because they don't have the money, which I think is a very smart thing.
And I'm sorry,
and also a very good.
I don't believe anyone when they say they don't want a big wedding. And like, that's not a slight against women, or you know the like sort of, you know, societal expectation that all women have this like fairy tale wedding, and it's, but like if marriage
is this
means
much of a big
this
fucking deal
much to you, I'm sorry, you do not want to get married at City Hall. Yeah. Also, I promise you do not want to get married at City Hall. If this is like, if you've got this weird sort of like 5-year plan in your head. It's been 5
years, Dane.
Yeah.
And she's 29.
Yeah, I promise you want a wedding dress. Yeah. You want a chapel or a location, a venue.
Also, like, even if you have a small wedding, they're expensive as fuck. Also, she never says she didn't want a big ring. She very specifically says he thinks I want a big wedding, a big ring. I don't want a big wedding. That's still a big ring. And like, to be upset at your partner for thinking logically and practically and being like, oh, I don't want to cripple us financially.
Yeah, because let me tell you, I see it all the fucking time on Facebook where people constantly complain about not having enough money. They get married, and then all they talk about is how tired they are, how like little their partner is doing in the relationship, and then 6 months to 2 years they're divorced, because one of the biggest strains on relationships is money. Yeah. Especially when you're living together. So like, to
not even relationships, your life.
Starting your marriage in a deficit makes no sense to me. You could use that money to invest in a house together or anything. Literally anything together.
It would be a lot more beneficial
than it's spending $3,000 on a dress that you wear once and then you're going to leave it hanging in a closet for the rest of your life. It makes no fucking sense. And like, I am someone who doesn't believe in marriage. It makes no sense to me. I don't mind the concept of pledging yourself to another person, but the idea of institutionalized marriage and the idea of these like expectations of what weddings are, it makes no sense to me. It's so fundamentally against what a healthy relationship is. It's, you're promising that you're going to love someone forever. You can't do that. Like, you literally cannot do that. That is an unfair expectation to put on anyone. And then you just stood in front of your friends and family and made this impossible promise.
It's kind of like, we're just going to tie ourselves together, even though it doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, and it's like, what? Oh, hey, we can't afford a house, but
we're going to make it harder
like 10 grand on a fucking room for a day.
Yeah.
So that you can all get hammered on an open bar.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
If you want to do a celebration of your togetherness, I'm down with it. But like, the idea that you have to have a venue, and you have to have invitations, and you have to do this, and you have to do that, and there's a bridesmaids, and they have to spend a shit ton of money because you're getting married. It's like the whole fucking thing is the most ridiculous situation, and it's only getting worse.
Yeah. But no, I have so many problems with like everything in this. The fact that she asks for the ring, they pick it out together, but then she's upset that there's no romance. It's like... Also, she's like, why is it a promise ring after she agreed to it? And then says, aren't we a little old for that? Aren't you a little old for wanting big, grand, romantic, like, movie gestures
also, if he's,
when you're doing this very practical,
if his thing
nice
was like,
thing.
oh, I'm not going to get you an engagement ring, I can get you a promise ring. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, why is it this?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's
That's a crazy thing to do.
I know. I feel the whole thing upsets me because, like, I get the feeling that this guy has no idea that this is happening.
Absolutely not.
And I think, like, and even just, like, is there something wrong with me? Like, when did that become part of the conversation?
Also, like, he's been with you for 5 years.
Exactly, which is more important than any of the other shit.
That's pretty clear indicator
that there's nothing wrong with you.
He doesn't think there's anything wrong with you. I mean, there might be something wrong with you. But in his eyes, he has invested 5 years of his life with you.
Yeah, and also, presumably wants more, because guess what? Promise ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like...
So, look, we've complained about this person. Let's give him some advice.
Well, okay. Communication.
Absolutely.
Talk to your partner. And like honesty as well. Like don't try and hint, because hints are by their very nature, like even if they're getting a hint off you, they might not get the whole hint, or they might get something else. Like hints aren't specific by definition.
Your relationship isn't like a fucking escape room.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like you don't want to challenge them to meet your needs.
Yeah.
You want them to meet your needs. Yeah. And the only way to do that is to express them.
And if you can't communicate, that's probably a good indicator that you shouldn't get married.
Yeah. I think to like further what we've said and what you've just said is you need to sit down and have like the marriage talk and be like, hey, it means a lot to me. I would very much like to get married. And you need to outline everything. Also
think about why you're so desperate to get married.
Yeah, you have to outline everything. And like you have to mention, like, are you okay with City Hall? Is it literally that you just, want to get a marriage certificate? You have to,
also,
again,
maybe he wants a big fucking wedding.
Why does it matter? And that's another thing. Maybe his family maybe comes from a culture or a family or
maybe
whatever.
He just wants one.
It doesn't really matter or it doesn't count unless you've got like everyone there. So you need to like really hash out one, why he hasn't proposed, or why he's hesitant to, or you know what I mean, like why you're so keen on getting married, and then sort of meet in the middle and be like, you're not ready to propose, I'm very ready to be proposed to. Where can we meet? And I'm not saying don't set a date. Don't be like, in 3 years we'll get married. That's not helpful.
You do need to determine a few things. Like, one, is it a deal breaker if he doesn't propose right now? Because if it is, then you guys got to break up, because you can't keep torturing this person until they propose to you. And if he's never going to propose, that's also a thing you need to know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If he's just like, hey, look, I have no interest in getting married.
Yeah.
You then have to, he might be like, hey, look, that promise ring is the equivalent of me getting married to you. That is far as I go. And then, you have to understand, you have to make that choice of being like, is this relationship with this person that I've been with for 5 years, is that enough for me? And if it's not enough for you, you have to really, 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 really think why it isn't. Because having someone want to stay with you and spend 5 years of their life and have no sign of not wanting to pursue that further for the indefinite future, if that's not enough for you, you need to really consider what matters in your life.
Yeah.
Because if it's a ring and a title, I think you've made some bad choices.
Exactly. Because, like, I love how in this situation it's presented as, like, all negatives, but it's like, you're somebody who loves you, who bought you this nice, I'm presuming expensive enough ring to comply with your wishes, and like is still with you in like 5 years. Again, I said it isn't the longest stretch in the world earlier, but like it's also a pretty long stretch.
It's I would imagine probably like above For people in their 20s, I would say it's like the top tier of length. Unless you're one of those like rare people who have been together, with your high school sweetheart since, 7th grade or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I imagine, like Amanda and I are coming up on 4 years. I'm sure she'd yell at me about
Through the
correct.
wall.
Yeah. And like, that's a good chunk of time.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And when I mention it, like everyone's like, "Oh, you have like a year now?" It's like, no, it's almost 4 years now. And people are like, "Whoa!" Like that's a shocking number for a lot of people nowadays. So 5 years it's nothing to like
it should
to
have
dismiss because you're not getting a physical
immediate ring,
a physical like token of this love.
Yeah, and like the marriage isn't just one person either, so it's like you got to respect their wishes too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you guys really need to chat like properly.
You need to put it all on the table.
Yeah.
There's no hints.
Yeah.
No,
because being upset
subtlety
about someone behind their back for things they don't know about, when you're also not really being honest about the things you're asking for and doing, that's gonna fuck everything up.
Yeah.
And
like imagine if he was like, if he. I don't know where I'm going with that.
But yeah, no, we get it though. It's just like you guys gotta talk. It's and if you can't talk, you definitely should not get married.
Yeah.
Get dirty.
It's my turn to take a little dip into your favorite subreddit.
Love?
Seduction, baby. This comes from Reddit user Frosty Salt 818. My sweaty hands are ruining my game. Touch is a very important aspect of seducing a woman, right? How the hell can I seduce a woman when my hands are practically dripping with sweat? The mere thought of touching her arm or her neck or something makes me want to beat myself for thinking of such a stupid idea. How can I fix this? When I notice how sweaty my hands are, I try to breathe deeper and more often, but it's just not enough. How can I stop my sweaty hands from ruining my game? I get that if I'm good enough, it shouldn't be an issue, but my hands are also completely nosediving my confidence. I feel like if I can get this under control, then my approaches will be much better in general.
You see, like,
I'm interested to see because I have a very, very strong theory as to what's happening here. So I'm excited to see what you have to say about this.
Yeah, because what I'm going to say is just so great. You got to stop trying to, like, don't try and get rid of the problem, because it's not a problem. You're going to save money on lube. Right? Just tell her that. And no, don't tell her. Demonstrate it. Right? Yeah. And of course, like,
baby, I'm lubed for your pleasure.
Just like look at her and go, and like put your whole finger in your ear. You know what I mean? Just the whole thing. And she'll be like, what the fuck? And you'll be like, look, try the other one. She'll try your ear, see there's no lube, and she'll be like, okay, but you could have pre-lubed the other. And as she's saying that, slip your other finger right in that ear, and she'll be like, oh my God.
In her ear or his own ear?
His own. You don't want to just put your finger inside a woman.
Well, I don't know, because as he says, touch is a very important aspect of seducing a woman, right?
Touch yourself. Hey girl, just rubbing your arms or licking your own arm like that one gentleman did to us. I think just demonstrate how, like, she will almost get wet about how little she'll have to get wet about around you. She doesn't even have to put the energy in.
Are you ready for my theory?
That was my real one. My real one is bring a bag of chalk around like a climber and just put your hands in just before you touch them. Like, hey, girl.
Constantly chalk up. Before I get into get some gloves. Get some really cool gloves. Fingerless gloves,
Kill
baby.
someone, take their skin, put their skin over your skin, hands, and then it will feel like real human flesh, but it won't sweat because it's dead.
Yeah. That's also really good.
Don't do that, please.
What I think is happening here is I think he's been cursed by some sort of like gypsy or a witch or I really
I don't know if we're allowed to say that.
I don't think gypsy is the right word to use. But like maybe a witch, warlock,
perhaps
some sort of otherworldly being.
Yeah.
And I think this is sort of like a Shallow Hal situation where like he's touched so many women inappropriately without their consent, aggressively. He's like tried to use his game. So now he's being taught a lesson of being like, you can't touch women anymore because you got drippy hands.
Yeah, because
and like until you realize how to respect women without touching them, your hands will be drippy. And like it's like a Freaky Friday, Shallow Hal sort of. Any of those like early 2000 movies where people were cursed for being a shitty person in order to learn a lesson about not being a shitty person?
Firstly, we've already written the screenplay, so don't stop
TN,
right now. I see you.
It's copyrighted.
Pen to paper. Fuck off. We got this. Drip Boy, Drippy Dave, and Ryan Reynolds is the lead.
Yeah. Oh.
David Drips. Drippy Desmond. I don't know. I'm just saying Drippy and names with D in them. Drippy Darnell.
Oh.
I don't know. Either way, yeah, 100% that's what it is. Because, like, no human sweats that much. From the hands.
From the hands,
They're dripping. You have 100% fallen afoul of someone with magical powers. And they've, to be fair, 10 out of 10 curse. Can we just
100%? Yeah,
like,
whoever's doing this voodoo on you,
they don't need our advice because
they done it.
Their magics spelled with a CK is
Absolutely.
Great. It's just they're like perfect. You know, how much would it cost to get you to get Dan for us?
Oh,
although maybe he's already been cursed with a constantly leaving ex.
Yeah, he's just like I think he's Groundhog Daying. Holy shit!
Jeebus.
Do you think Dan is Groundhog Daying, living the day his wife leaves him?
That would be a pretty good curse too. 10 out of 10. Oh no.
It's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah, because
every day he's like, how do you get them to stay? How do you get them back? It's like he's not going on about this. He's just he's stuck in a fucking time loop.
Some of the questions I can't tell whether I've read them already because they're all the fucking same.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Who is this vigilante warlock?
We need to meet them, and we need to shake their hands with non-sweaty palms.
Well, we're in a closet that's 900 degrees right now, so there's a thin veneer of moistness. Get absorbent trousers, bud. But dark ones so your sweaty palm prints don't show up. Also, like, I think being, like, obviously you're sweating because you're either so toasty or it's nerves. So, like, calm down and realize that you don't actually need to start touching people all that much because, you know, that if you're so worried that you can't get with someone because you haven't reached out and touched them, I'm going to just guess that you suck because that isn't that much of an impediment. If you were literally like King Midas, I couldn't touch them or they turned to gold, you could still probably get a nice little chat up going if you weren't a piece of shit.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be like, oh my god, I met this really nice guy, we had a lot of fun, but like, he just
wouldn't touch me.
He did, and like, I'm sure it would eventually become an issue, but that first time, he wouldn't be like, we didn't have that skin to skin, you know, he didn't put his hands on me at any point. Yeah. Like, that, no, I'm pretty sure people are going to be okay with that.
His suggestions are arm or her neck.
One to pull and one to choke, obviously. Cause
like, what are you doing where your opening is... Yeah, like, why are you touching their neck?
How would you even do that?
Like, I'm assuming he means like
putting your
back
arm
of the neck?
around or like... Yeah, but that's pretty threatening.
Yeah, no, that's like, not something you do with someone like...
Hey, let me check your pulse. Yeah, you're alive.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like, Drippy Dave... What are you doing? But now he tries to get someone's pulse. It slips right off, and he's like,
"Oh God,
I don't know if she's fucking dead or not." And maybe he's met the undead because he's definitely met some magical beings. 100%. So maybe it was undead. Ooh, it's nearly October.
Spooky.
Yeah, just like
maybe we'll try to get our vigilante Spite Witch on for our Halloween episode.
Spite Witch. I like that. That should be a Pathfinder class.
Might be.
Probably is. I feel like get out of your own head about how much you need to touch people, and one, you'll probably be all the better for it, and two, you probably sweat less because you won't be freaking out.
Yeah.
Don't touch people's necks.
And it could also it might be a medical thing. Maybe go see a doctor.
Yeah, maybe go see a doctor.
Maybe it's a diet thing. There's a bunch of things that can
Yeah. How many jackets are you wearing?
Man, it's not hot.
Also, bag of chalk.
Yeah.
Have you seen...
Or, again, some cool fingerless gloves.
Yeah, they...
You look like fucking Judd Nelson from Breakfast Club.
Yeah, you look like you're gonna fight someone in an alley, but, for, not mugging them, to protect someone.
Yeah.
Like, you're just a stone cold vigilante.
And if someone does want to fight you, you take those gloves off and just gross them out with your fucking
drippy,
sweaty hands.
You flick liquid in their eye till they're blind.
Or maybe get those like sweaters with the loops.
Sweaters. You think that's gonna help? Jesus, Dane.
Well, you know the one
Jesus.
where you can put your thumbs through the sleeves and just maybe rebrand as an emo kid.
Yeah,
from like the early 2000s.
Can you pretend you shrunk a little bit and have like really long sleeves that just like dangle a bit?
Oh,
and that could be a great opener. Be
like reverse big.
Yeah, be like, oh, I have. I was like, I'm 6'3". Well, not anymore. And then the thing is, you actually probably can sell this lie because you already have knowledge of the arcane because you've already been cursed. So you
make a curse work for you.
Exactly, right? Like, yeah, you've been cursed, but like,
I mean, this is gonna piss the Spite Witch off a lot.
Yeah, and she's either gonna actually shrink you or then make you really tall, and then you're gonna be tall and sweaty.
Or maybe you'll just have giant fucking sweaty hands.
Being tall and sweaty is a terrible combination for ladders. So I hope you're not a firefighter. But maybe that's in your favor. You can put out fires with your hands because no one can light them on fire because they are pure liquid.
Yeah.
Man, you got interesting life, Drippy Dave.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a lot of options. I don't think we've helped you, but I think we've opened some doors for you at least.
Yeah. Twist
because we know how hard it is for you to open doors.
Yeah, like doorknobs, the round ones.
Oh,
he
man,
just can't do it. Like handles, he fucking loves them. You should see him try to open a fucking revolving door. He looks like a mime trying to, I don't know, a mime falling down a hill.
All right, hit me.
Okay.
Oh my god. We got time for one more.
Okay.
Make it a good one.
Again, they deleted the further things, but it's fine. Am I, 19-year-old female, being unreasonable for asking my roommate, 19-year-old female, not to walk around naked while my boyfriend is around? By user T-Locks.
Damn.
Long story short,
we have roommates to introduce you to.
I know, right? Do we have the boy for you?
Yeah. No.
Long story short, she just to give a slight delving into the question, she had her roommate is always walking around naked, which she is personally okay with, but she doesn't want to do when company are over. She asked her, and she was like, "Oh yeah, no, totally." And then the next time her boyfriend was over, she was like, "Just a heads up, I'm coming into the room," and the girlfriend was like, my boyfriend's here. She was like, "I don't mind," and came out and was just like butt naked. So not only were they asked, they then agreed, and then when the boyfriend was there, like in front of like, you know, like brought it up like it hadn't already been brought up in a way that like made it seem like it was, you know what I mean, and then just completely ignored the wishes and came out anyway.
And then like, was there do you know if there was a follow-up? Was there like a, hey, so remember when I asked you not to do this?
I do not remember. I think it might have just happened, and that's why.
Right.
I think she wants the confirmation that she's not being an asshole before.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, you're not being an asshole. I think there are some societal norms that aren't the worst. Things like not exposing your naked body to people. Mm-hmm. Or if someone asks you not to expose yourself to them, that you don't.
Yeah.
I think those are like, there's a bunch of societal norms that are very problematic, and I don't think this is one of them.
Yeah, and also it's just like common decency, but also flip it around. Imagine if like he had his girlfriend over and like the roommate kept walking up butt naked and being like, "What up?" Like that would be taken as a very aggressive act.
Yeah.
And being like, you know, you would 100% get arrested if you did that in the street, or like even there, like I'm pretty sure that's like some form of sexual assault, just like flashing, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think a lot of people are giving this person a carte blanche because it is a lady body and not a man body, but like it's also just like you're pissing off your roommate for no reason.
Yeah. And like, I'm sure, like, regardless of how attractive this person is, I'm sure the boyfriend is hella awkward.
Oh, the boyfriend who claims not to have noticed. I was lucky. My boyfriend was really busy with something, so he didn't even really notice. He said later on, "Girl," he noticed.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
We all have like a little radar
Yeah.
that detects us if there is an exposed boob.
But also, like, if you were in a room and someone was like just doing something weird, anything weird, you wouldn't not notice that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if they came out dressed as a fucking duck and he was like later on, "Oh, I didn't notice," you'd be like, "Excuse me?"
The only thing I can think of is like, unless he was like, you know, in a corner facing a wall on a computer with headphones in. Okay.
And nose plugged because you can smell them boobies.
Yeah, you can smell them. We have boob sense. 30 feet. It's one of those things where you have to. I don't care how much of a free spirit you are.
Mm-hmm.
You also, like, part of being a free spirit is that people respect your wishes.
Exactly. You gotta
of
also
like
respect
being
theirs
this
to a
person.
degree.
So you need to repay that respect and that favor back. Like, this roommate could very much be like, hey, please don't walk around naked ever.
Yeah.
But they're cool with it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're like, you know what? When we're by ourselves, it's totally fine. Do your thing. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm asking is, when I have my boyfriend or company over,
Yeah.
don't do it. That's not hard to do.
No.
Because, like, even if you want to, like, throw a fucking house robe on. You know what I mean? Throw a nice silk kimono on.
Yeah.
You still get the feeling of being free and naked. You're just not showing your parts off to everyone.
Mm-hmm. If anyone heard me just yell, "Oh Jesus!" it's because Dane's cat just scared the shit out of me. I thought it was a big bug.
He is a big bug.
He's been coming in here like all episode. What's up with him?
I know.
I think he knows. He knows we're like near the top 100. He's just like dirty for fame.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a spotlight stealer.
Okay, there's no way they can't hear that.
Oh no,
right?
you can hear it. Like in
Like-
all last episode, anytime there was like a brief like
Yeah.
pause, you.
Yeah, he's like a little fucking engine.
So I hope that's not triggering anyone's like sexual ASMR.
Yeah, that's probably it, is it?
That'll do it. Yeah, that'll be us.
All right, well,
I think next episode that we upload will be our full anniversary episode.
oh shit.
Um,
If you have any questions, make it a special one. If you have any feedback from the year, if we ever helped you with a query,
yeah.
if you have any ideas on what we should do, throw some shit out. Maybe we should have a shot per question.
Do a shot of like alcohol.
Yeah,
Fuck.
like every question we answer.
Uh,
Or every 10 minutes.
oh God. I mean, we'll talk about that.
Yeah. Maybe we should do a shot of Unicom every time.
Ooh.
Or we'll get one of our Chicago buds to ship us up some Malort.
Some Malort? No.
For those who haven't tried it, Malort is like drinking pain.
Yeah, Malort is
Like bad tasting pain, too.
imagine someone gave you a thing of paint thinner and then made it taste worse.
Mm-hmm. You know when you like leave a tea bag in tea for so long that when you like drink it, it's like somebody put varnish on your tongue and you're like, ugh. That, but like steeped in old cigarette butts and paint thinner.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the worst.
Yeah. So we're gonna if anyone's from Chicago wants to ship us up a bottle, yeah. So thanks for being here.
Yeah, like
Also-
Nell said, if you've listened to our podcast and it's affected your life in some way, whether you followed our advice or it gave you new insight into things,
Or even just you want to listen to people's silly problems and laugh along.
yeah, shoot us a little message, send us an email or tweet us or whatever. And I guess now's a good time to tell you how to do all that. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/FCK podcast or FCK Buddies podcast. You can find us on Twitter at FCK_buddies, and you can email us at fbuddiespodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you, Josh Eagle and the Harvest Cities for their song Paper Stars. And on top of that, a few things. One, we mentioned Kyle and his awesomeness last week. We've put up a short video that he recently had released.
Yeah.
And the link on our page if you want to check that out and support him, which I think you should because he's awesome.
Yeah, we'll just to recap. He's doing a charity event for epilepsy. He's trying to raise some money so that one, he helps the cause, and two, it gives him a chance to cook with celebrity chefs. The link is tiny.cc/KyleChef.
Yep. On top of that, we just again, I know we did this last week, but thank you guys so much for everyone who rated, everybody who has subscribed and started listening. We went from 187th up to 114.
Yeah, we almost hit the top 100 last week because you guys, and it's pretty fucking wild.
It's crazy. So if you want to keep going, we're definitely okay with that because we want to be top 100 boys.
Yeah, we want to get in there.
Furthermore, you've probably seen our new logo, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we might even have a website up this week. So
It's coming.
keep your eyes peeled, which is a fucking horrible expression.
Yeah, it's a terrible expression.
Don't peel your eyes.
I didn't really think about it until you made that gesture that went along with that phrase, and it makes me want to
Peel your own eyes.
just rip all of my skin off and jump into a vat of salt.
Yeah. So on that pleasurable note, you ready for some sex writing?
Let's do it. I'm comfortable.
Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Stick it in, she whispered. I moved up the bed and pushed inside her. Liz squeaked like wet rubber. She grabbed my love handles and ground her hips against me, her eyes black saucers staring into mine as she hucked a yoga leg onto my shoulder. We went through a medley of our favorite positions. When Liz saw that I was about to shoot my blob of low-cal genetics, she turned onto her stomach.
What?
When Liz saw that I was about to shoot my blob of low-cal genetics, she turned onto her stomach, lifting her arse to get a hand to her clitoris and chase me to an orgasm. She made it just in time. We lay panting with the sweat cooling on our bodies. Things were better between us after that, but it didn't last long.
Is everyone's genetics low calorie? Is it
Or
his
just
diet?
his? I don't know, man.
Am I rocking full calorie genetics?
I don't know.
I don't think I've ever been made more self-conscious. My self-esteem is just tanking right now, worrying about
how
the caloric level of my genetics.
We're also going to be releasing a genetic calorie counter on our new website, just a heads up.
You will only be able to measure by the blob, though.
It's when you look at like a bottle of Coke and it's like per 300 milliliters, which is bullshit because it's never the amount on the bottle, which is fun. But it's it's gonna be like per blob.
Yeah.
Also, can we just like start putting things from these in real life, like just like murmur up to someone, go touch her on the neck with your sweaty ass hands, and just say, "I can't wait to make you squeak like wet rubber later."
So was she making the wet rubber noises, or was her like vagina?
Vagina.
Was that?
I honestly, I don't know.
I assume she was making the like. Yeah. Yeah, like I imagine that because like
I don't know.
I
would hope her vagina wouldn't make that noise.
A considerable amount of sex, and I can't think of a single time a vagina has made a noise reminiscent to wet rubber.
Let's just say I've been known to intercourse the odd time, and I would also say no, and I'm okay with that because it'd be a horrendous sound. Wet rubber is not nice.
No,
it's like his dick was like chalk, somebody scraping their nails on a chalkboard. No,
I hate it, but I also love it. That passage, not the whole thing.
My chalk scrape dick.
Yeah.
Should make a great album name. Chalk Scrape Dick. It's also hard to say. Chalk Scrape Dick.
That's a Blink-182 song.
Mm-hmm.
All right, hit me with our poor time-looped Dan.
Yeah. Dan says, "Help, please, get me out. Please. I can't take it anymore.
I've become self-aware.
She's leaving again." Oh, you know what? Wait, what? He's released 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's released 10 posts yesterday.
Holy shit.
And none of them have any titles.
Wait, what? Is it just links?
It's just links. So maybe he knows that we're reading his titles out, and he knows that this way, even if we're going to we have to click.
He has to
click, and he gets them sweet views, or the time paradox has driven them mad.
Yeah.
Pick a number between 1 and 10.
7.
What?
I'm losing my mind over here. What's happening?
It's a post about how Christopher Reeve is his role model for his bravery.
What?
Look. His role model traits. He was a devoted father and husband, well-educated, philanthropic, dedicated to his work. He was socially conscious. He had a strong work ethic. He had persevered and he determined. His story. His handsome looks.
So he just...
What? This is just a gush on Christopher Reeves.
I mean,
hey, I'm not...
Good on Dan. As far as I know, Christopher Reeves was a pretty decent dude.
Yeah, but is it sponsored? This is the only time he hasn't put some...
I don't think it was sponsored by Christopher Reeves, as he is dead, I believe.
One of them. No, I'm sure there's somebody else out there called... But, it's really weird, because we've been following this bullshit for a while, and he has never posted his male role model and there's like a picture of Christopher Reeve, and it says his name in silver, and underneath it says bravery in blue. There's like a ribbon hanging over it that says male role model, and there's a man silhouette with a tick on it.
Well,
Are all 7 Christopher Reeve?
Maybe he's like changing. Like maybe he's just finding like good men to learn from.
No, he posted up 10 of his male role models. I'm so baffled.
My name is Dave Miller.
I'm gonna find one if you want. Want to find one? Dan says, how should I communicate with my ex now that she has a new boyfriend?
Oh, maybe he's not stuck in a time loop.
I think it's like a week or a month, or like it's not just a day, because like they want to give him the full pain of like them leaving.
Yeah, it's one thing to like leave, but like watching them fall in love with someone else.
Yeah.
Whew.
But then it loops before he can move on, which is apparently also never.
My name is Dave Miller.
And I'm Niall Spain.
And we are your fuck buddies.